Welcome to the I Heart My Fit Biz podcast, where we will be covering everything you need for inspiration, motivation, and practical advice in how to create a thriving fitness business. I wanted to focus on some of the basics and some of these things aren't even necessarily related to your fitness business, but just in terms of time management, organization, avoiding overwhelm, all of those things I think are the main foundations of any business. Because if you aren't managing your time properly, if you are overwhelmed, if you are feeling stressed most of the time, you are not going to enjoy running a business, and you are not going to be thriving, because you're constantly in that state of trying to find time, feeling overwhelmed, feeling stressed, and it's just not a good place to be in. So I think the main foundations, and I try and work on this all the time, is to manage my time wisely, make that a priority, make tasks a priority, and eliminate things that just aren't a priority. And just trying to do almost like an order of my fitness business nearly every month and sometimes every week. I'm like, do I need this? Or is this helping me? Is this bringing an income into me? Is this draining my energy? Where's my time going that it shouldn't be going? So all things like that. And I wanted to cover that in this first podcast episode, because I think it's so important to lay those foundations. And it's something that I've just been implementing over the last 2 years. And before that, it was literally just, I'll do this, and then I'll do this, and I need to do this, and I'll add that to my to-do list. And there was just no order of any, there's no systems in place, there was no priority, and I was working all the time. And I don't think we really switch off from our fitness businesses. From any business owner, I don't think you fully switch off. But it's so important to create boundaries and to have your downtime and your me time. And there was a point in my fitness business for a good few years when actually it was just all about my fitness business, and I didn't really have a life outside of that. And anytime I went out with somebody, all they could really ask me was about my business. And I didn't want that for my life. And so for the last few years, I've been working on changing that and creating more balance. And I think when you've got a balance, you can create space for more to come into your life, more clients to come into your fitness business, more income to come in, and you just feel better. You just start to love your business. And we start out by loving what we're doing and wanting to do it. That's why we created a business, and we think it's going to create us freedom and all of that. And then we get into that kind of overwhelm and that panic of, I need to make this work. And then it becomes a chore. It becomes that full-time job that we've tried to get away from by starting a business. So let's start by taking a look at where your time is going. So one of the things that I like to do every now and then is to literally write a list or document every single hour of my day for like a week. And what this does is just wakes you up to where your time is going, where you're wasting time, where you're draining your energy, where your focus is in terms of a balance in your life. So are you doing too much on your fitness business? Are you not spending enough time on yourself, or not spending enough time with family? And it really wakes you up to all those wasted hours as well. So maybe you have got a good balance, but the time that you're spending with yourself or resting or not on your fitness business is actually wasted with binging on Netflix or scrolling social media, which actually has a negative effect and almost drains you of energy even more. And I'm not saying not to do that, but again, if we are saying to ourselves, I don't have time to do that in our fitness business, I don't have time, I can't set that up because I don't have time. When you really, really look at things, sometimes that Netflix binge if it's every single night, or if it's a good chunk of your life, yet you're saying you don't have time to do this, you don't have time to do that, when really your priorities, it's just your priorities that aren't right. So it could be that you are literally working all the hours under the sun on your business and on trying to set things up. And it might be the case that you have to do that for a limited period of time to really get things going and really gain momentum. But that doesn't mean you can't find balance and you can't find you time. And you will find that as soon as I started to add in some self-care, some time for myself, as soon as I started to add in some socializing time with friends and family and making that a priority, I actually had more energy for my fitness business. I had more energy to create new things for my fitness business. The time that I was spending on my fitness business was focused, prioritized time, rather than just, oh, what should I do next? I've got all this to do. I've got this really big to-do list, so I won't do anything, or I'll just procrastinate on the things that I don't really need to do that aren't going to bring an income, and then I don't have time for anything else. So documenting where your time is going is hugely important to get a real awareness of where your time and energy is going. So I would do that once a month or at least once a quarter. And that's another thing. I always separate my year into quarters because it gives you, the years just fly by and they're getting quicker and quicker. So when we break it down into quarters, it's almost like mini years within a year. And I always think a new quarter is a bit like a new year. And I look back on the previous quarter to see what I've achieved, what I wanted to do, and if I've accomplished it, and actually what's no longer serving me. And then that gives me new goals and new focus points for the next quarter. And it also helps me to avoid overwhelm. So I can break down my goals into 4 sections of the year. So say like I wanted to take my fitness business online within the next year. I know that I can break that down into sections. So the first 3 months, I don't have to focus on going online completely, but maybe the first 3 months of the year are literally just exploring, researching, figuring out how to do things, making notes, looking for ways that I can do that. And then maybe the second quarter of the year would be actually starting to set things up to take my business online. And then maybe the third quarter of the year would be to start to advertise and promote and market that online fitness business. And then the third and the fourth quarter of the year would be perfecting that and tweaking it and adjusting it and continuing to grow with that online business. So it's less overwhelming, and we can break those goals down into 4 sections and then just review and adjust and tweak throughout the year, rather than kind of getting to the end of the year and thinking, I wanted to do this, but I haven't, because we've kind of taken the year as a one big whole section of time. And that goes for really any goals. So even with your clients, weight loss or any kind of fitness and health goals that you have, breaking it down over the year into those small manageable sections is the best thing that you can do. So then I started to look at my weeks and my days and those times where I could focus on certain things, those times that maybe I was physically out teaching classes, those times where I could build and create content for my online aspect of my business, and those times that I was marketing and actually bringing new clients and income into my business. And when I documented my time and where my time was going, and also when I created the kind of 4 quarters of my year, I realized that a lot of my time was going into creating content and teaching. And actually, a lot of my time wasn't focused on income producing activities that were going to move my business forward and bring more income and help me to move into more success and more abundance. So that was one of my priorities initially. And it came down to what I was doing in my day and what were my first tasks of the day and where I was wasting time when I could have been, again, doing certain tasks. And I realized that a lot of the time, my income producing activities were literally last on my list. And I wasn't doing anything to market my business until I'd created some content or, done something else in my fitness bit. And it was really procrastination. And it came down to a few limiting beliefs that maybe I didn't deserve to have a big income in my fitness business. Maybe I didn't deserve, deep down, I felt like I didn't deserve to bring in new clients, or that I wasn't good enough to bring in new clients. So it might just be that you're not necessarily just not prioritizing those tasks, but actually there's a reason why they are last on your list. And so I tried to make those a priority. I wrote down all of the income producing tasks that I could be doing in my fitness business, and I made those a priority on a daily basis. And then everything else came second to that. Because at the end of the day, if you're not bringing in paying clients, if you're not making an income, you've just got a really expensive hobby. And nobody wants that. You want to be enjoying what you're doing, but you want to be paid well for it as well, because that's going to give you more momentum and more joy in what you're doing. So I made those tasks a priority, and that was a big game changer. But I also looked at my day and I thought to myself, do you know what? I'm wasting a lot of time on social media that's not really getting me any new clients. I know I need it, and I know it builds that know, like, and trust factor. But can I do this in a more effective way? So I looked at my days and I just thought to myself, do you know what? There's times throughout my day where I can literally spend 15 minutes creating several stories in a row, or several IGTVs in a row, or just several videos in a row that I could save for the week. So they're all filmed and they're all done, and then I've got them there saved to post or scheduled to post as and when I want throughout that week. Instead of creating videos there and then, that was wasting quite a lot of time, I created multiple videos. So I created social media, and I batch scheduled social media. And doing things like that in your fitness business are going to be huge game changers. They're going to take out the overwhelm. They are going to mean that you spend less time on social media, but still have a big presence on social media. So you can still be out there and promoting your business, and you can still be building that know, like, and trust factor. And yes, there are some stories and some videos that I do just kind of on the spur of the moment, live, in real time. But the majority of it, I schedule and I batch. And a lot of the time it's when I'm sitting in my car waiting for something, and I would just film a load of videos. And it's also those times where you know that nobody's going to interrupt you. So sometimes I would do it early in the morning. Sometimes I would do it while I'm waiting to pick my niece up from school. And I know I've got a good 5 minutes. And I would think to myself, reels are, you can do a minute-long reel. So what can I say in 1 minute that's going to help my audience? What can I say in 1 minute that promotes a product or service that I have available? What can I say in 1 minute that is of value to my audience that I can just create? And I literally put my camera on, did a minute. Put my camera on, did a minute. And again, 5 minute pass, I've got 5 videos there. Even if that's all I posted, one of those reels a day on my Instagram, on my accounts, even if that's all I posted throughout that week, that would be one thing a day that I'm posting or scheduling on my social media to be out there with my business. And it would be something that, again, I created once and then I post once a day. So I'm not on social media all the time, which is what I used to be. So that is also a huge tip. And again, it's just focusing and prioritizing your time. So once you've become aware of where your time is going by documenting your time throughout the week, and then prioritizing those important tasks, really have a look at those time slots where, again, you can sit down, batch a whole load of social media posts or film a whole load of social media posts, or sit down and batch your emails, or sit down and batch create content. I sometimes schedule out a whole day and I would just film a whole load of videos for maybe a new course or update videos for an online course that I have that just needs updating. And it's done in one day. Just get it. Whereas if I'd have done that just here and there throughout the week, it would have taken me so much longer because it's the setup time that you have to do each time you film a video. Lots of different things like that factor into when we just do it as one-offs. It was when we batch create, when we batch schedule, when we start to batch tasks in our business, it becomes so much easier. So sometimes I will batch things for the whole month. Sometimes it will just be at the end of every week, I'll batch create something for the following week. But you get into a system and you get into a rhythm, and that's what it's all about with your fitness business, especially with the admin side, which we don't really want to be doing huge amounts of because we are fitness instructors and we want to be helping our clients on a bigger level rather than just spending all of our business hours on admin and create and marketing. If it's all scheduled and automated and batch created, it becomes so much easier, and then you can plan so much more and plan your month in advance, and then your days become easier because things are scheduled and they're batched and they're automated, and you free up time instead of trying to do it in the real time, if that makes sense. So these are all huge things that don't get me wrong, I fall back into old ways of not prioritizing my time and not batch creating content. Like every single month, there will be maybe a week where it's just gone to pot and I've just let things overwhelm me. I've let my to-do list grow and I haven't batch created enough content or scheduled enough. These things happen, and what I do, again, I go back to the beginning. I document where my time is going. I take a look at my schedule. I see where I'm not creating those batch times where I can batch create things, batch schedule things. And I start again. And the more you restart, the more you try. So you might do it for 1 week and it just doesn't work. So try again the next week and then tweak and adjust. It's all about keeping going, trying again, and just resetting, readjusting, reevaluating everything. So every Friday, sometimes Saturday, I look at the week that's gone, I look at the week ahead, and I see what I've got in place, what needs to be in place, what I've slacked on. So I'm always reviewing, I'm always adjusting and tweaking to see how I can make things easier. And that is my priority. Originally, almost my priority was to be working as hard as I possibly could, overwhelming myself and almost having that belief that if I wasn't working hard, if I wasn't doing all the hours under the sun, then I wasn't going to be successful. Now, I try and have that belief that the less I'm doing, the more successful I am. And the easier things are, the more successful I am. And it's a real mindset shift, all about mindset when it comes to kind of how hard we think we should be working and how much we think we deserve to allow into our fitness business. So mindset is also another thing that I prioritize. Income producing activities, mindset are two huge things in my fitness business outside of all the systems and all the admin and all the actual practical things that you have to do to run a business. I would say the two most important things, the most important thing is your mindset, your time priorities, and your income producing activities. Those three things, if you prioritize those, you will see massive shifts in your fitness business. And it takes a while to eliminate those limiting beliefs and get into the process of doing all of these things on a daily basis, because we always slip back into old ways, and we always slip back into our belief system, our old belief system of having to work really hard. We fall back into old habits of just trying to do everything at once instead of prioritizing, batch creating, scheduling, automating. So 3 biggest takeaways. Let's whittle it down to 3. So first of all, what I want you to do, and try it this week, I want you to document your time. So get an app on your phone, or literally take a notebook around with you and literally write down every single hour what you're doing in that hour. And then I want you to look back over your week and over your days and just see where your time is going. And then once you get a feel for where your time is going, I want you to start to eliminate things that are time wasters and energy vampires, and just start to eliminate those things. Start to reorganize and reprioritize your day and your week. Have a look at those income producing activities and if they are a priority. So make a list of all the things that bring income into your business. It might be you're not doing enough promotional posts. It might be you're not following up with people. It might be that you haven't got a booking system in place. So look at all those income producing activities, and then start to make those a priority. The very first things that you do in your day is just simply asking yourself, how can I bring more income into my business today, and do those tasks. So document your time, make income producing activities a priority. And then the next thing I want you to do is ask yourself, how can I make my life easier in my fitness business by batch creating content? And I want you to, again, write a list of all the things that you can literally sit down for a couple of hours and batch create, whether it's social media posts or emails or videos. And those 3 things you are going to do this week. I know you're going to do them because they're going to make massive shifts in your fitness business.